And smart coverage kicking off now.
This is Vegas Nation Gameday. Brought to you by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
You are looking at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, where in an hour, the Raiders will take the field to face the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. Happy Sunday, everyone, and good morning. Welcome into Vegas Nation Game Day. I am your host, Cassie Soto. Joining me here in the Review Journal studio is NFL writer for the Las Vegas Review Journal, Adam Hill.
Yeah, Cassie, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Raiders with back-to-back losses to the Patriots and Bills, and now they get the tallest of orders, facing off against Patrick Mahomes and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right, Adam. Well, we hope that you at home will stay with us for the next hour right here on Vegas Nation Game Day, as our team is out at Arrowhead reporting on this game. And a little later on in the show, we'll catch up with Kevin Cannon, who is spending his morning with Raiders fans at Stage Door Casino. So let's go ahead and hit some headlines here. Now let's head to Kansas City, where Heidi Fang, Vinny Bonsignore, and Ed Graney get the stories rolling for us.
Thanks, Cassie. Now let's take a look back and look at what happened. The Raiders have lost 2 in a row just last week to the Bills, Vinny. What happened there that you think the Raiders need to correct?
Well, I mean, you can't shoot yourself in the foot. The defense is not good enough to support an offense that turns the ball over twice, 2 critical fumbles. Can't have penalties. They had 6 on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, 7 the week before against the New England Patriots. They have to be able to play self-efficient football and not sabotage themselves. That's what they've been doing the last 2 weeks. If they can clean this up, I fully expect a competitive game here in Kansas City. Not saying the Raiders are going to beat the Super Bowl champions, but if they play clean football, they're going to give themselves a shot.
All right, Ed, now looking ahead, this game, like Vinny just said, they can't shoot themselves in the foot. What do you have on this that they need to get right?
Don't shoot yourselves in the foot. No, here we go. Keep Pat Mahomes off the field. Easier said than done. We get that. But you can't let Pat Mahomes, the quarterback of the Chiefs, stay on the field the whole day. It will not be good for the Raiders. So, look, John Gruden, as Vinny knows, loves 14-play drives. Get 3 or 4 of those drives. It's very hard to do. But when you come in here as a huge underdog, you've got to find ways to keep them off the field. If there's any way they can do that, I think it's competitive. A lot of people come in here with that idea. It doesn't always work, but that's the only thing you can do. You come in with a plan and you see how it works.
All right, coming at you from Arrowhead Stadium. We'll be back with you during the show. It's Vinny Bonsignore, Ed Graney, Heidi Fang. Back to you, Cassie.
Thanks so much, Heidi. Well, now our third storyline, Adam, defensive tackle Maurice Hurst tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday. He was the first Raiders player to go on the reserve COVID-19 list during the regular season. Adam, what do we know about his status?
Yeah, a lot of, slip-ups and, fines that have happened for the Raiders, but the first actual positive test during the season, Maurice Hurst, and he is on the COVID list, not making the trip to Kansas City, and it's a big loss for the Raiders. I don't know how many people know how well Maurice Hurst is playing early in the season. Pro Football Focus has him as like the 3rd best defensive tackle in all the league, 1 ahead of Aaron Donald, considered maybe the best defensive player in the league. So Mo Hurst had a great start to the season. This is a big loss for the Raiders, but the positive side, there was a lot of concern the rest of the week. Will there be another positive test? Will the game be in jeopardy? Not turning out that way. Looks like they're going to be good to go, and I think the Raiders are very happy about that.
That or we're previewing a kickoff that would not happen, which would be a little...
Yeah, that would be a little weird.
Weird.
Yeah, for sure.
So we hope, knock on wood here, in 55 minutes, we've got a kickoff here. Well, the coronavirus has affected everyone across the NFL. In fact, ESPN will air a story later on today about players like Josh Jacobs continuing to swap jerseys during the pandemic. Adam, let's take a look at this. Virtual jersey swaps are going on.
Yeah, and I think, people look at this and they say, well, why are they doing some of these things? Hey, these guys are playing a contact sport. Why can they not, shake hands? Why can they not do these different things at the end of the game? Well, we saw with, the Patrick Mahomes situation, after the game, everybody thought, there was negative tests, everybody was good to go, there was an outbreak on the Patriots. But he went and shook hands with Stephon Gilmore, and they hugged right after the game, and then it turns out Stephon Gilmore tests positive. So even with all these protocols in place, they're trying to take every single precaution necessary, because we see what happens. There's chaos among the league. Kickoffs moved back, games moved to Tuesdays. All these things are happening. Yeah. They need to have every protocol possible in place, and that's what they're doing.
Right. All right. Well, let's go ahead now and give social media a look. Our social media is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. First up here, last week we talked about Alec Ingold getting a boost in his Madden rating after that ridiculous hurdle. Well, this week it is tight end Darren Waller's turn to get a little bit of a boost. Let's look at this here. up 3 points, I believe, here, Darren Waller.
That only makes sense. Listen, I think Darren Waller was kind of on the low end of where he should have been going into the season. Those adjusters are hard at work. We talked about that with Alec Ingold last week, as you mentioned. These guys are watching every single week. They're watching to see if you can block better than they thought. Jalen Richard, early in the year, he said, I'm a much better blocker than you guys give me credit for. But Darren Waller, as high of the overall rating as you want to make it, I think it's justified. The guy is just great.
Right. All right. Well, next up, the Raiders put out a video as the Al Davis Memorial Torch was lit at the team's Henderson headquarters. There we go. Let's see.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is, right in front. It's right there in front of the facility as you drive south in front of the facility. You can look over and see it right there at the front, where eventually, when people are allowed to go there, you will see it as you walk in. And just a very cool nod to the history of the organization. We know the one over at Allegiant Stadium, the more virtual type, a massive digital flame that's out there, but very cool to see the original out there and the nod to the franchise's history before they came to Las Vegas.
And coming on a big weekend for the Raiders, too. They honored Al Davis. It's been 9 years since his passing, October 8th, 2011, so really just a tribute. They're bringing as much of Oakland as they can with them. I know that they've said that from the start, that they wanted to do that.
Yeah, and I think this is a franchise that has so much history, and they honor their history so often. They talk about the former players. They bring them back into the mix, so involved in the community and everything else. But also it's a franchise that it's finding a new life here in Las Vegas, a new identity, but it's also one that wants to honor the past, and they're showing that and doing a great job of that, and we see that once again out at the facility.
Yeah, well, they're honoring the fans, and speaking of those fans, we want to see your silver and black pride, and we are offering some free stuff to get a look. It's the Vegas Nation Fantastic Photo Contest. All you have to do is post a photo with the hashtag VNWeek5 to enter. The winners will be selected on Monday. Let's go ahead and look now. Here are some photos that were submitted this past week. Adam, let's see these little Raider fans here.
That's adorable. I mean, there's really,
look at the hard hat. Is that a hard hat? Raiders hard hat?
It's an impressive hard hat. The red hat is nice too. I like the diversity of hats here.
I like that. The red
bill
bill
of selection. Yeah, that's good.
Good.
And
what
the
else?
sign.
Let's see.
That.
Hey, I know that guy. That's Jerry Robinson, former LA Raider.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a couple times. That's a good one right there. The alumni.
You see the alumni jacket there, and I think a Mountain Dew, which is impressive. Maybe necessary early in the
We don't
morning.
talk about Mountain Dew on this show because if we have any loyal followers here, they know what happened to me back in November of last year, so we won't talk about that.
Fair.
Anyways, here we go. The chefs. Raiders chefs. What do we think about this?
I'm impressed with just looking like a chef because I can't cook anything. So I think that that is just impressive to me. Just to look like a chef is something I can
Correct me if I'm wrong. You air fried a steak?
It was delicious. Listen, it didn't look great. It wasn't for the gram. I didn't do it for the gram because it would not have gotten many likes. It was awful looking. Tasted delicious.
All right. Do we got another one? Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, Iron Man. Iron Man, is this Andy Reid? Andy Reid preview here with the Iron Man face?
First of all, I love the incorporating the Vegas sign into the Raiders and them, embracing our community and coming in. That's all great. Everything else that's scary to me. I don't know what that is. It's terrifying. I would not want to see that in a dark alley.
Well, speaking of these photos, let's go ahead and we'll talk now, Adam. The Raiders had some very special guests at Allegiant Stadium last Sunday.
That's right. 20 local frontline medical workers were invited to light the Al Davis Memorial Torch at the stadium before the game against the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, they attended a private reception before the game, and afterward they provided their signatures to be added to the list of those who have had the distinction of honoring the torch. There you go, right there. They signed that plaque, and it's going to go somewhere on the torch, I believe, which is pretty cool. It'll be there forever.
Yeah, they're still no fans in the stadium, and we understand that is part of it. But the fans are finding ways. The team's finding ways to get the fans involved, to get the frontline workers involved. All these different members of our community involved in being a part of the team and incorporating them into the stadium and the franchise. It's very, very cool stuff.
And to get the frontline workers too, to give them their moment. We know how hard they've been working. If you're a frontline worker watching this, we just want to thank you so much for doing everything that you do. Well, we are going to take a quick break right now, but when we come back, our own Sam Gordon has some numbers that might impress you. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Sam Gordon. We're introducing a new segment this week called Sam Has the Numbers, and this week I have the numbers on pass rush. The Raiders are among the most woeful teams in the league at rushing the passer.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal. to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm being completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Field Pass is sponsored by Scenic Brewing Company, your neighborhood brewery and sports bar.
With your Field Pass from Arrowhead Stadium here in Kansas City, I'm Heidi Fang, and this will be the first game of the Raiders 2020 NFL schedule that will have fans. Arrowhead is going to allow 17,000 fans today inside. That's about 22% of normal capacity. You can see behind me some of them are starting to filter in now.
Heidi, we know the Raiders are not allowing fans into Allegiant Stadium yet, but there might be hope for fans of UNLV. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Cassie, UNLV Athletic Director Desiree Reid Francois put together a proposal that will go up to the state's business department for approval. Steve Sisolak said that they will start allowing fans inside of venues that are large, and that means Allegiant Stadium. Now, the UNLV Rebels have a game lined up against UNR for Allegiant Stadium on October 31st. And if this proposal goes through in the next couple of weeks, then this would be the first game that we could possibly see fans at Allegiant Stadium. Cassie?
Thanks so much, Heidi. Well, now it is time to flip the field, where our own Ed Graney gets some insight on this game with someone covering the opposing team.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It is Flip the Field. Can't wait to talk to this gentleman, longtime friend of mine, one of the best columnists in the country from the Kansas City Star's, Vahe Gregorian. Hello, Vahe. How are you?
Ed, I'm great. It's great to spend time with you, even if it's a little off kilter like we always to be.
We've become Skype experts, at least you have. Let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, you hear often about teams that win championships, Vahe. The next year, it's kind of that Super Bowl hangover. They're not as good. Obviously, that's not the case with the Chiefs. If they beat the Raiders, they go to 5-0. Talk to me about that. How has Andy Reid continued to motivate these guys after winning their Super Bowl to still be the best team in football?
Something about this culture. I know it gets to be a little overblown, but there was a lot of big talk about dynasty from the moment that Super Bowl ended. And I think they felt motivated right away to show that this was no flash in the pan. Now they've won 13 games in a row, and I think we're seeing that the defense has matured so much that they don't have to just rely on Mahomes to win.
Absolutely, and we're talking about Pat Mahomes, the huge contract. There's another guy, you know as well as anyone, there's guys in this league who get paid, and the motivation and the passion are erased, that they got their money and they're ready to go now, and whatever happens, happens. Not Pat Mahomes, it seems like. It seems he's as driven as ever. You know Pat Mahomes as well as anyone. You've written profiles on him, everything there is to write. Tell the listeners here and those watching about Pat Mahomes and why he's one of those guys who's not going to let up once the money's in the bank.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're right, Ed. I went down to his hometown and spent a lot of time with people he grew up with and grew up around and taught him and coached him. And I came away with a feeling that we we don't maybe even understand that his real talents are what's inside as opposed to the incredible arm. I mean, he's got amazing awareness, a certain kind of hunger that is, it's a rare combination when you have all those things going at once. And I think he's only gotten more passionate about the cause.
Great stuff there. Vahe, I want you to take care of yourself. I hope I see you out here when the Chiefs come to Vegas. Thanks, my friend.
Hope so, Ed. Thanks a million.
There he is. Vahe Gregorian, read his stuff in the Kansas City Star, by far one of the best sports columnists in the country. That's Flip the Field with the Chiefs. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ed. Now we have something new for you. Review Journal sports reporter Sam Gordon has some insights on today's game, and all you have to do is look at the numbers.
Thanks, guys. I'm Sam Gordon. We're introducing a new segment this week called Sam Has the Numbers, and this week I have the numbers on pass rush. The Raiders are among the most woeful teams in the league at rushing the passer. They generate pressure on only 17.5% of opponents' passing plays. That mark ranks 29th among the 32 NFL teams per data accumulated by Pro Football Reference. Their sack percentage of 2.9 is 30th. That is not good when you're playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They are among the better teams in the NFL at protecting the passer, allowing pressure on only 19% of their dropbacks. So you are looking at one of the worst pass rushes in the NFL against one of the better pass protecting teams. On the other side of the ball, the Chiefs are one of the best pass rushing teams in the league so far this year. Their pressure percentage of 28.6% ranks 5th, and their sack percentage of 8.5% also ranks 5th. Fortunately for the Raiders, they have been keeping Derek Carr clean for the most part. They allow pressure on only 17.1% of their dropbacks, which is 8th. Those are the numbers. Back to you in the studio.
Well, if injuries are starting to wreak havoc on your fantasy lineup, our resident expert Heidi Fang is here to help.
Hey everybody, it's Heidi Fang with your fantasy football focus for Week 5, Raiders at Arrowhead. Now, in the past, the Raiders have not done well against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That'll mean start that Chiefs defense. I think the Chiefs defense has been really hungry lately, and they've done well in the turnover margin. They've had about 5 interceptions and have only allowed 4 touchdowns through the air to opposing quarterbacks. Now, on the flip side, I'm still going to tell you to go ahead and start Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. I think here he's going to be a viable fantasy option. He is still going to have a steady workload throughout this game, even if the Raiders fall behind. Josh Jacobs will still get his carries. Plus, the Chiefs have allowed over 5.6 yards a carry to opposing running backs and have given up a total of about 644 rushing yards to opponents. So I think this will be a good start for Josh Jacobs and the Chiefs defense. Book those guys in your fantasy lineups now. Thank you everybody for watching. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Heidi. Well, still to come on Vegas Nation Game Day, we'll learn about an effort to serve a very important part of the Raiders fan base. But first, some Patrick Mahomes trivia. NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. Before Patrick Mahomes, who was the youngest quarterback to be named Super Bowl MVP? Was it A, Terry Bradshaw, B, Tom Brady, C, Joe Montana, or D, Joe Namath?
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm being completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Get the Vegas Nation Podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation Podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit
Well, on
contender
paper,
either.
they are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm Cassie Soto, and now it's time for our favorite, J.R. Starkus, to make us a Vegas Nation cocktail.
Welcome back, Raider Nation. This is Week 5 cocktail. My name is J.R. Starkus with Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits, and this week we're going to do a variation of a mojito, but we're going to make it with gin first. This is botanist gin, and this is from the island of Islay in Scotland. We're also going to use a little bit of fresh watermelon. So let's take our fresh watermelon. You can add as much as you like. Could be 5-6 pieces, could be a little bit more, it's up to you. We're just gonna give it a little muddle in our wine glass or any glass that you so desire, okay? Then, I'm gonna add 1.5 ounces of my botanist Islay gin over my fresh muddled watermelon. And I'm gonna add as well a couple ounces of this ripe mojito mix. Now this is cold pressed lime juice with mint oils and a little bit of agave nectar. We're gonna add 2 ounces here. This is delicious, refreshing, and fresh mix, not pre-mixed stuff that you find all over the place. This is really, really good stuff. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of ice. And I'm gonna top it with my San Pellegrino Essentia soda. I'm gonna give it a little stir. And I'm gonna garnish it with a nice piece of mint. And there we have our beautiful gin-based watermelon mojito. Cheers.
The Raiders' long connection with the Hispanic community dates back to the 1960s, and now Deportes Vegas is picking up the torch to serve the Las Vegas community. Joining us now is announcer Harry Ruiz. Harry, please tell us what fans can expect from the new Deportes Vegas, now serving the silver and black Spanish language radio partner.
First off, thank you, Cassie, for having me. It's definitely something different than what you would listen to in the traditional English broadcasts that you always have with great people like Brent Musburger and Lincoln Kennedy, Cristian Echeverria, and myself. We have a different style of calling things. If you listen to soccer, you know it's a little bit overboard, and that's what you can hear with the football game. We don't just stay in one single lane. We go all in, and definitely the Spanish broadcast is something that we're going to work to make it the best in the NFL, because that's what the Raider Nation deserves, the best, lo mejor.
Definitely a little bit more lively there, Harry. We'd love to hear it. Well, throughout the years, the Raiders have opened up doors for minorities. Take Tom Flores, the Raiders head coach from 1979 to 1987, as an example. What does this partnership mean for the Spanish community?
Oh, it's huge for the Hispanic community. It's huge for our, with Lotus out here in Las Vegas, with the Raiders trying to have that bridge, not only here in Las Vegas, but with the Hispanic community, not only in the States, not only in Mexico, but worldwide. The Raider Nation, it's not of Oakland, it's not of Los Angeles, it's not only of Las Vegas, it's a global phenomenon. And you go anywhere in the world, you know that the Raiders have a special connection with their fans. I was at both games that the Raiders played in Mexico City, both against the Texans and against the Patriots. It's incredible the amount of fans that the Raiders have in Latin America. So what this means for the community is that we keep connecting them. We are the bridge to connect the Raider Nation with the Raiders.
Well, for fans looking to follow the action on social media, I hear you are working on something there as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I have social media pages at La Nacion Raider, so the Raider Nation, but in Spanish, La Nacion Raider on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, posting daily content 100% in Spanish. from Las Vegas. From what I know, I'm the only person doing it from Las Vegas completely in Spanish. So if you want the latest about the Raiders en español, visite at La Nación Raider. Ahí les tenemos toda la información.
Harry, thank you so much. Muchas gracias. We appreciate it.
Muchas gracias a ti, Cassie.
Well, in addition to being the new Spanish radio home of the Raiders, Deportes is the only 24/7 Spanish language sports radio station in Nevada.
With a closer look at this week's opponent, it's Heidi Fang here with our Raiders writer Sam Gordon, and we're going to take a look at what the Raiders can do here in Arrowhead to come away with the win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Derek Carr has led this Raiders team since 2014 and has not had a win in Arrowhead. So, Sam, what do the Raiders need to do, specifically Derek Carr, to get this offense going?
Well, Heidi, I think it's pretty simple for Derek Carr. You got to keep playing how you've been playing. He's been outstanding this year. The Raiders have had a myriad of issues on both sides of the ball, and he is not one of them. He is completing a career-high percentage of passes. His yards per game is a career high. His air yards per attempt, career high. All these things bode well for the Raiders. Now, he hasn't thrown an interception, most importantly, as well. I need to add that. If he can take care of the ball, throw the ball away when it needs to be thrown away, and complete a high percentage of his passes, that gives the Raiders a better chance of sustaining long drives and keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, which is what the Raiders want on Sunday.
And another way to keep Patrick Mahomes off the sideline is to keep Josh Jacobs running the football. I think he's going to be a big factor in the game, Sam. So if you are the Chiefs defense, what do you do to stop Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I think for the Chiefs in this game against Josh Jacobs, their best defense is their offense, right? We've seen over the course of the first 4 games, the games that the Raiders won, week 1 and week 2 against the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints, Josh Jacobs was a focal point. They established him, and the game was competitive, so they could go to him and feature him. He had 29 touches in week 1, 30 touches in week 2, and 37 touches the last 2 games combined, both of which were decisive victories by AFC opponents, the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. So if the Chiefs can take an early lead, that's going to force the Raiders to adjust a little bit offensively and might take Jacobs out of the game. The Raiders do not want this game to get away from them early. They know the Chiefs have a big play offense and have those capabilities. If they get Jacobs going, it slows the tempo, and that works in their favor.
All right, great stuff, Sam. And next week, we'll be back again with another closer look at this week's opponent. For Sam Gordon, I'm Heidi Fang. Back to you in the studio.
Well, Raiders fans, we know you're busy getting ready for kickoff, and you might not have been in front of your TV at the top of the show. So let's go over what we've covered so far. First, we know Raiders defensive tackle Maurice Hurst has landed on the reserve COVID-19 list. The Raiders play the Chiefs today, and as Sam Gordon told us, Vegas is generating pressure on only 17.5% of opponents' passing plays. And Deportes Vegas is using their own unique style in their Spanish language radio broadcast of Raiders games. Well, coming up on Vegas Nation Game Day, we'll hear from Raiders defensive back Trayvon Mullen.
And that's what I look for every week. No matter who we play, you got to have that mindset of going out there and compete, no matter who it is, no matter the guy, the name. As long as you go out there, you prepare, play with good technique, fundamentals, everything will be good for you.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Welcome back to Vegas Nation Gameday, presented by Meineke and your local Meineke dealers. When you shop for quality, shop Meineke.
NFL Trivia is presented by Attack Law. The best defense is a good offense. The answer is B, Tom Brady. Mahomes and Brady are the only quarterbacks to win the award before their 25th birthday. Cassie Soto and Adam Hill back with you, and it is time for a status check. Adam, some big news. Raiders tackle Trent Brown and wide receiver Henry Ruggs are active today.
Yeah, I think we know they're active, and it looked like they were trending in that direction. So good news for the Raiders that they'll be on the field. That's the first key. The next one is how long can they last?
Yes.
Trent Brown went through training camp, didn't practice a whole lot, got out on the field for the opener, lasted 3 plays, and was done, caused a whole lot of mixing and matching along the offensive line. So we'll see if he's able to come back. I know he said he was worried about how it would feel after the plane flight. It might swell up a little bit, might get some inflammation. So we'll find out how long Trent Brown can actually play. Henry Ruggs is another one. Just being on the field is effective. We saw that against the Saints. Week 1, first half against Carolina, explosive, dynamic. They were using him in the long passing game. And it looked really good. It looked like exactly what they wanted him to do. That's why they took him in the first round. Then got hurt. Wasn't really as explosive anymore. They did figure out a way to use him as a little bit of a decoy, but really wasn't as effective in the second half after the injury. He played against the Saints, got 3 targets. Again, wasn't that effective, but he did, you did see what they want to do with him. They ran him deep on a couple of plays. He drew a pass interference penalty. He can be effective without even catching the ball. So I'm sure the Raiders are very happy. John Gruden and Greg Olsen, the offensive coordinator, very, very happy just to have him on the field.
Yeah.
But if he can be productive, if he can be effective, if he can be explosive and dynamic, that'll be even one more step for the Raiders.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on now. Some members of the Raiders secondary have had to grow up pretty fast, and that, of course, includes second-year cornerback Trayvon Mullen. Our own Heidi Fang talked to him about his growth and the challenge this week.
Hey everyone, it's Heidi Fang here with Raiders cornerback Trayvon Mullen. You are holding things down, basically allowing the 4th fewest amount of yards when thrown to your side. So how does that feel to have those kind of numbers? How does it inspire you?
It just helped me grow with my confidence and my preparation. It just shows I'm able to do a lot of good things for our team and our secondary to help us win. Quite honestly, it's just giving me a lot of motivation for myself. I prepare well. I go out on the field with an edge. I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything right for my teammates and this team to help us be in the best position to win.
How up do you get for a game like this where you're facing a rival of the Raiders and Patrick Mahomes?
I get very excited just to go up against guys like that because I know it's going to be a competitive matchup, and that's what I look for every week. No matter who we play, you got to have that mindset of going out there and compete, no matter who it is, no matter the guy, the name. As long as you go out there, you prepare, play with good technique, fundamentals, everything will be good for you.
Thanks so much for taking the time to join us, Trayvon. Back to you in the studio.
Now let's go to Review Journal sports betting reporter Todd Dewey, who joins us from the Mirage. Todd, what is happening with this morning's betting line?
Well, the line and total on this game have been dropping as sharp bettors are backing the Raiders and the under. The Chiefs are down to 10.5-point favorites at a couple books after the line was as high as 13.5 earlier this week. And the total is down to 54.5 across the board after opening at 59. The Chiefs' explosive offense have a defense to go with it this year. Number 2 in the NFL in scoring defense, allowing only 17.5 points per game. It's a big week for money line parlays and teasers. And an oddsmaker I spoke with expects the Chiefs to be on just about every one of them today. The Raiders, if they pull the upset, they're plus 450 on the money line here at the BetMGM book at the Mirage. If they pull an upset, they'll only trail the Chiefs by 1 game in the division with 11 games left. But odds makers have already made the Chiefs virtual locks to win the division. They're minus 10,000 favorites in Las Vegas, meaning a bettor has to bet $10,000 to win 100 on the Chiefs or 100 to win $1 to win the division. Offshore book Bet Online went a step further this week and crowned the Chiefs AFC West champions, paying out all division futures bets early on them. If the Raiders, Chargers, or Broncos come back to win the division, the book will reportedly be on the hook for 6 figures. Best of luck on all your bets today.
Todd, thank you so much. Well, remember, if you want to follow all the betting action, including Todd's recap and Jim Barnes' live blog, you can find it all at reviewjournal.com. Let's take a trip across the league. Adam, the Raiders had a rough week last week, but at least they are not the Houston Texans.
Yeah, the Houston Texans have moved on from Bill O'Brien, their coach and general manager. I don't think general manager Bill O'Brien made the decision to fire coach Bill O'Brien. They were both let go by the organization. And we'll see what happens here. It sounds like there were some internal issues. J.J. Watt maybe got into a little bit of a altercation, a shouting match with Bill O'Brien at practice, and the results just weren't there. They've won a couple divisions, but Bill O'Brien hasn't exactly earned a sparkling reputation as a dynamic head coach. It's more kind of getting through on talent. He's made some questionable decisions, trading DeAndre Hopkins for an injured, aging running back in David Johnson. A lot of problems there with Bill O'Brien, general manager. I think the general manager, Bill O'Brien, got Coach Bill O'Brien in trouble. Didn't really work together well, and it's over there in Houston.
Well, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who will come to Allegiant Stadium in 2 weeks, got Week 5 started against the Chicago Bears.
They did. Cassie, can you count to 4?
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's better than Tom Brady could do. Tom Brady forgot what down it was at the end of the game and was very, very confused after throwing a pass downfield instead of taking a sure first down. He had Keyshawn Vaughn underneath for what would have been an easy first down. Tom Brady thought it was third down. He took the deep shot instead, and the Bucs paid the price. Really impressive effort, I guess, by the Bears. They didn't do a whole lot offensively. They did enough, got a lot of field goals, played some good defense, and Tom Brady's arm just isn't what it once was. I know he had the 5 touchdowns, but there's not a whole lot of oomph maybe to his throws, and we'll see him on display, as we said, at Allegiant Stadium in a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks there. Well, Adam, before we went on the air today, we learned that the Patriots-Broncos game has been moved to next week. A lot of moving pieces here in the NFL this week.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're even able to do that next week. We still don't know about the Titans and the Bills this week. The Titans with more issues. They're kind of determining whether they can play on Tuesday or not, and then will that game have to move? If that game gets canceled Tuesday, Bills-Chiefs next week goes to Thursday. There's just so much there to try to figure out. But as you said, yes, especially if you're a fantasy player out there, we just heard from Heidi, the Patriots and Broncos, get those players out of your lineup, and also have some contingency plans in case the Titans and the Bills don't play. I would say right now, probably leaning toward not playing that game on Tuesday, but we'll find out how that goes down. All we care about here right now, the Raiders are playing the Chiefs after both teams had some scares this week.
Well, I don't know if you want to take Adam's fantasy advice, because I heard that he traded Patrick Mahomes recently.
That's a great move.
You stand by that still?
Oh, I will stand by that all day. I got a starting running back and wide receiver out of the deal. Like, you got to do that, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers as a backup. He's just sitting on the bench doing nothing. You've got to take advantage of that. And by the way, quarterbacks are overrated in fantasy. Just remember that. People try to reach out too often and take quarterbacks. It's about economics, not football. You just have to understand these things if you're a fantasy player.
All right. Well, moving on here. Raiders fans are probably tired of hearing this by now, but the defending Super Bowl champions are off to a 4-0 start this season. Chiefs head coach Andy Reid talked about this week's matchup. Let's take a listen.
Listen, we look forward to playing the Raiders. I mean, we know they're a good football team. They went in and got after New Orleans. They played the last 2 games right down to the end. So we know they're a good team, and they're very well coached, and they've got good players. So we've got to make sure we have a good week of preparation as we go forward.
What's your level of concern right now that Pat or any of your players has the virus, your coaches, yourself? What's your level of concern with that right now?
We take it day by day, and we try to do the best we possibly can at keeping ourselves as clean as we can, and at the same time learning every day. So we're all wearing masks. We've been doing that, and more shields and whatever. I mean, whatever all the terms are, but we've tried to keep our nose and our mouth covered the best way we possibly can, and then try to be as safe as we can off the field. But listen, I think just like you guys, every day is a new experience that you got to kind of work through, and that's what we're doing.
Well, we just heard from Iron Man Andy Reid. Is that that's the right way to say it now, right?
More of a welder?
Yeah.
He's a welder, yeah.
Just heard from Iron Man Andy Reid, welder. When we come back, though, we'll hear from the Raiders themselves and what they had to say. Stay right there.
When you're playing each other, Chiefs, Raiders, it's not friendly. But, we got to make it a rivalry. If we're going to be honest, we got to go win some football games against them.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal. to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm being completely honest with you. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender
on paper,
either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
Raiders Replay is sponsored by De Castro Verde Law Group. Our motivation is you.
The Kansas City Chiefs and Raiders rivalry is one that has been stewing since the two teams were founded in 1960. The Raiders won the first meeting between the two teams when the Chiefs were then known as the Dallas Texans. They became known as the Chiefs when they relocated to Kansas City in 1963. In 1968, the Raiders and Chiefs were both sitting at 12-2. The two teams faced off in a playoff game to decide who would go to face the New York Jets for the AFL Championship. The Raiders won 41-6. In 1969, the Raiders beat the Chiefs twice in regular season and went on to win the AFL Western Conference title. However, when the two teams met in the AFL Championship game in Oakland, the Chiefs won 17-7. They would move on to win Super Bowl IV against the Minnesota Vikings. The Raiders, for the most part, edged out the Chiefs throughout their meetings in the 70s and the 80s. In recent history, the Raiders have spoiled the Chiefs' playoff hopes twice. In 1999, all the Chiefs needed was a win to make the playoffs, but instead the Raiders would take their first win at Arrowhead since 1988. In 2014, the Raiders snapped a 16-game losing streak in Oakland against the Chiefs and cost Kansas City a playoff berth. In 2016, both teams ended the regular season with a 12-4 record. But since the Raiders had lost twice to Kansas City, the Chiefs won the AFC West and Oakland was regulated to wildcard status and therefore had the 5th seed in the AFC playoffs. Since Derek Carr has played quarterback for the Raiders, the team has not won a game at Arrowhead Stadium, leaving their recent matchups at 0-6 win in Arrowhead. And that'll do it for this week's Raiders Replay.
The Raiders had plenty of things to say this past week. Let's take a listen.
I tell you what, like even when like in pregame at Arrowhead, like when it's not full, it's loud. You know, like it really is. You know, it's like how do they make it this loud? You know, and to that, give them credit, their fans credit, they're passionate, they're loud, and stuff like that. But going to Arrowhead against the defending Super Bowl champs, it'll never be an easy task. You know, it'll never be easy, but. You know, we haven't won there in some time as an organization. We need to get a win there, but it comes at the cost of playing the defending Super Bowl champs who are hot again, you know, and they're undefeated. They don't like us, we don't like them, you know. There's not a lot of handshaking between the two. Never has been, never will be probably. You know, even though there are friends on each side, but when you're playing each other, Chiefs Raiders, it's not friendly. But you know, we got to make it a rivalry. You know, if we're going to be honest, we got to go win some football games against them.
I mean, I can tell you straight out the back, I don't live for nobody compliments, and I'm not going to die by their criticism. So I'm a man first and foremost. I didn't get this far by listening to all that naysay and doubters. So I just come to work and do my job every day. I'm not the only one around the league that's injured. They should really just be happy it's not as serious as some of the other ones. So.
Cassie Soto and Adam Hill here. Adam, do you know what time it is?
Of course I do, Cassie. It's time to take another look at social media.
Our social media is sponsored by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Adam, our own Vinny Bonsignor has video of some very brave Raiders fans tailgating at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, first time this year that fans are allowed into a Raiders game. We know the 2 home games had no fans. Games at Carolina and New England, no fans there either. 22% capacity allowed in Kansas City today. Tickets are very pricey, but I think well worth it to a lot of people who are desperate to see some live NFL football. And if you can't see the Raiders at home, what better place than to take a trip to Kansas City? Not the greatest city in the world, but hey, why not go check out a football game? And that's what fans are doing today. Good for them. Look like they're having a good time out there.
I hear the barbecue's pretty good, though, there.
Arkansas's better.
Okay.
I mean, that's a hot take.
Never been. So.
I know Ed does hot takes here. That's my hot take. Arkansas barbecue better than Kansas City, but hey, it's still pretty good. I'm sure they're finding some good food out there.
All right. Well, better than the steak in the air fryer, I'm sure.
Don't hate it until you try it. It's so delicious.
Well, let's go ahead now and look. Also, NFL Films had Alec Ingold giving Jason Witten his proper respect here. Let's take a listen.
Come on, Derek! Rolling hard, looking for somebody, fires, end zone, grab, touchdown!
Yes! Ah! Let's go win! That's a grown man! Man's already got a gold jacket. Still active.
Show y'all young bucks what some swag is right there. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
That's Ed Graney. Speaking of Ed Graney hot takes, that's his man right there.
Yeah, he loves Jason Witten, and you can see why. I mean, obviously Max Crosby does too. Maybe Max and Ed have to debate who loves him more. But I wish Max would have fun out on the field. I mean, just
so boring,
so
that
reserved
guy.
and shy.
So
have
shy.
some fun out there, Max.
Well, Jimmy Vaccaro posted a big bet made on the Raiders today. Look at that, $20,000. Ticket cost $20,000 to win $38,000.
Cassie, you just did this for social media, didn't you? You didn't do it because you actually liked the Raiders today.
Yeah.
I don't think that was your bet. No. Hey, somebody's got faith in the Raiders covering that 11, and we'll see if the Raiders can bring somebody home some money there.
Right. Well, it is not game day unless our very own Ed Graney has some hot takes for us this week. We just heard Adams. Let's hear his now. He is focused on one Chiefs player in particular, and it's not Patrick Mahomes.
Thanks, Cassie. Hey, everyone. Well, it's back to Arrowhead Stadium for the Raiders today, and awaiting them is the best team in football, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. As much credit as quarterback Patrick Mahomes gets, all of it richly deserved, I want to talk about another potential matchup headache the Raiders will have to deal with. That's Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. If we're being honest, the Raiders have never even covered Kelce. I mean, not really. Not in a way that has made any positive differences for the Raiders. In fact, they have seemingly struggled to cover most tight ends for years. Never mind, arguably the league's finest in Kelce. Consider these numbers. In 12 career games against the Raiders, Kelce has 85 catches for 845 yards. That's an average of 14 per reception and 5 touchdowns. More importantly for Kansas City, it has won 10 of those 12 games. Kelce's been especially tough for the Raiders to stop of late. In his last 4 games against Las Vegas, Kelce has 29 catches for 427 yards and 3 scores. Total domination. What do the Raiders need to do? Hope like anything linebacker Corey Littleton shows up in a way he hasn't yet this season. This is the kind of game and matchup that led to the Raiders signing Littleton to a 3-year, $36 million deal to cover tight ends like Travis Kelce. Littleton was one of the NFL's best linebackers last year with the Rams. He had a league-high rating by Pro Football Focus in coverage at 82.3 and pass rush at 78.2, an overall rating, by the way, of 79. Those are staggeringly good numbers. He was also expected to arrive in Las Vegas and immediately improve a Raiders defense that was one of the NFL's worst in 2019 with a coverage rating of just 48. They couldn't cover me last season. Things haven't gone well for Littleton, though, through 4 games with the Raiders. He has an overall rating of 34.2 and has taken a huge drop in coverage at 40.7. Of the 79 linebackers rated overall by Pro Football Focus, Littleton is at number 70. Whether it's against Kelce or lesser tight ends or even receivers, Littleton has to start giving the Raiders much better results from his spot. It's not just him. Mahomes is a magician with his feet, so he's inevitably going to escape pressure when and if the Raiders bring some. But if there is no push up front and Kelce is afforded time to get clear in coverage by just a few yards, it really won't matter who's covering him. He's that good. So it's going to take a lot. Littleton has to show up. So does fellow linebacker Nick Kwiatkowski. So does Max Crosby and Cleveland Ferrell and Carl Nassib in front of them. You can't cover Travis Kelce with the same look every play. You have to mix things up. Mahomes is amazing, but Travis Kelce also makes him look really good at times. My pick, Chiefs 38, Raiders 24. I'm Ed Graney, and those are my hot takes.
Up next, Kevin Cannon checks in live with fans of the Silver and Black. We'll be right back after this.
Stay on the winning page with Fan Fave Las Vegas Review Journal to receive Vegas Nation content, plus breaking news, local entertainment, and lifestyle coverage. For only 99 cents a week, you'll get home delivery plus unlimited access to LVRJ.com. However you like it, whenever you like it. Award-winning content, all at your fingertips. Subscribe today at mylvrj.com/superfan.
Vegas Nation Blitz, your weekly show for all things Raiders.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I'm tired of being disrespected. So there was no question I was going to play this year.
From practice to game day.
We look more dynamic. We look more hungry.
My goal is to catch at least 60 balls this year.
Vegas Nation, fast takes, smart coverage.
Get the Vegas Nation podcast 3 days a week. All things Raiders, all week long. The Vegas Nation podcast, powered by the Las Vegas Review Journal. Now 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Raiders analysis.
Mark Davis looking out for the fans.
Interviews.
How do you look at this season coming up?
I'm going to be a much better player.
NFL talk.
The Cowboys are not a legit contender
on paper,
either.
They are, my friend.
They're not.
Find all our podcasts on VegasNation.com and hit subscribe. Raiders, fast takes, smart coverage.
The Road Ahead is sponsored by the Richard Harris Law Firm. Just in case. Injured? Call 444-4444. Welcome back to Vegas Nation Game Day. Let's check in with Review Journal photographer Kevin Cannon, who is live with some Raiders fans at Stage Door Casino. Kevin.
Cassie, I'm at Stage Door Casino on Flamingo Road and Link Lane, just east of the Strip, and I'm here with Cisco Kid Ortega. He's president of the Las Vegas Black Hole, and look at that jersey. Can you show us this jersey, Cisco?
I can.
Now, I just found out that Cisco and I grew up together in South San Francisco in the 80s, when it was very easy to be a Niner fan. How did you end up to be a Raiders fan?
I was just born that way, man. Silver, black in the blood. That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, of all the places you could watch the game, why here at Stage Door Casino?
Man, it's close. It's intimate. The staff has welcomed me when I moved here a year ago. Just great people, great place to hang out, man. And I love the staff, man. Great people.
And you love the team, obviously. Who's your favorite player?
On the current team right now, oh man, I'd have to say Josh Jacobs, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you excited that Ruggs and Brown are playing today, of course?
Yes.
They're on the
Very
field?
excited. Very excited. Yeah.
All right. Now, the Stage Door is a pretty famous place. It's been around for a while. Frank Sinatra used to hang out here after performing it right across the street at Caesar's Palace. I got to ask you, will luck be a lady today?
Luck will be a lady today. Let's do it.
We got a daunting task ahead of us. The undefeated Super Bowl champions, 4-0. They're playing pretty well. Okay, well, back to you in the studio. Luck be a lady today.
Raiders!
Thank you so much, Kevin. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the road ahead, which will bring the Raiders back home right here to face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2 weeks at Allegiant Stadium. Adam, what can the Raiders expect from the 6-time Super Bowl winner?
Yeah, first of all, the bye week coming up. So you got the Chiefs and the bye, and then they have 2 weeks to prepare for Tom Brady and this Bucs offense. A little bit of a learning curve there with Bruce Arians. He likes to take the ball downfield. Tom Brady now more of a dink and dunker guy underneath. So they're trying to figure each other out, but I think they will get it figured out. The Buccaneers will be a favorite in that game, but the Raiders have a good opportunity to get another win against a playoff-type team.
All right, well, let's turn our attention back to today's game. We'll go back out to Heidi Fang, Ed Graney, and Vinny Bonsignor for their takes on the Raiders matchup against the Chiefs.
Thanks, Cassie. It's Vinny Bonsignor, Ed Graney, Heidi Fang back with you from Arrowhead. Now, what we need to look for in this game, I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. They're going to need to keep that running attack going in order to keep Pat Mahomes off the field. Vinny, what do you have?
I want to see Henry Ruggs uncorked. Hopefully he plays today. He's been dealing with the hamstring issue and the knee issue. I want to see Trent Brown at right tackle. It's time for Trent Brown, the highest paid Raider, to get on the field and give them more than the 3 plays over 4 games that he's given them. Trent Brown, Henry Ruggs, I think that makes a difference offensively.
Ed, what's your difference maker for this one against the Chiefs?
Shameless plug, pick up the Review Journal today, our Vegas Nation special section, Corey Littleton. Linebacker, he has not performed up to snuff for the Raiders. Travis Kelce, the tight end, has killed the Raiders of late. Nick Kwiatkowski, Corey Littleton, how will the linebackers deal with the best tight end in football?
All right, there you have it. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you so much, guys. Well, Adam, let's get your final thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, Ed talked about you got to cover Travis Kelce. You got to figure out how to do that. They have not really been able to do that. Derek Carr has really struggled in Kansas City, hasn't won a game there. The numbers are ugly, 3 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, has not thrown for 225 yards in a game, and I don't necessarily know that they want him to do that today. They've got to run the ball. Josh Jacobs has to be the key. The Chiefs' pass defense is unbelievable, doesn't get nearly enough credit. You don't want to be in third and longs against them for sure. So Josh Jacobs, and then if he's tired, maybe some more Josh Jacobs. That's what you need to do. You need to control the clock, keep Mahomes off the field, and keep the running game going.
All right. Well, if you want to read more about the Raiders, go ahead and check out the Review Journal. Our teammates wrote in here, right here. You can find this special game day section in Sunday's newspaper. It's available on newsstands or subscribe by visiting reviewjournal.com. The Raiders have a bye next week, and so do we. We get a little bit of a break, Adam. Our next game day will be on Sunday, October 25th. In the meantime, you can catch Vegas Nation Blitz every Wednesday, including on the bye week on Cox Your View. For Adam Hill, I'm Cassie Soto. Thanks for watching.